Hello, and welcome to yet another TRC podcast where, to my right, I've got Levi Gates.
What's up, Dane?
And I'm Dane Hennon, obviously, your other host. And there is an empty spot where I'd normally be sitting, but, well, you know, sometimes people get a horrible case of the what?
Well, we're calling it the, he's got bubble gut and the hot snakes.
Yeah, let's not be shy about it.
Pulling a phrase from Parks and Rec where... our dear Anthony has fallen victim to bubble gut and hot snakes.
Say no more, please. Say less.
He is
never say it at all.
He's at home recuperating. He says there's literally no more liquid in his body. He's expelled it all out.
He's just a dry chamois now.
Every spot that liquid can come out of him, I guess. So, yeah. Jeff C says, man. I call it the hot browns. Yeah,
thanks,
he is. He didn't. We told him he thinks it's food poisoning.
I mean, it could be, but
said it's probably a stomach bug.
It could also be something the kid got a hold of.
Could be something the kid. Could be something that the dogs had. That there's a lot of stuff that in a household with a young child.
It opens up all kinds of amazing new opportunities to get sick in weird ways you never imagined possible.
Yeah, Dane, I will tell you, it is not fun, especially when a baby gets it.
Oh,
and they have projectile vomit. It's like a fire hose coming out of a little tiny thing.
Oh, it's okay.
Very strange.
I enjoyed it on the last leg of my trip in Italy. So
you did, yeah. You had
I know
that.
a thing or two about feeling some type of way.
Yeah,
So,
I know you would have exchanged that if you could have the bubble gut and hot snakes not on a train.
Yeah,
and not on a plane.
Not on a train, not on a plane, not in a tree.
Not in a trash can on the
I do not wish for that, Sam. I am. Yeah. So no thanks.
I wish you could be home in your own bathroom enjoying it.
Given the option.
Yep. So needless to say, he said he's got a lot of creatures with him in his bathroom to help clean up. So I know that. Anyway, hope you guys got to take care and got to or grab items from our Christmas sale.
Which, by the way, you guys saw the video, right? I hope you saw the video. It's still out there. You can check it out.
Yeah, it was a fun video.
It
was a good little Christmas, little Christmas New Year kind of thing.
Little
We're shooting
spirit.
something else right now for you guys. It'll come out, be a little gift for you this weekend. But yeah, no, we want to thank everybody that signed up, that got stuff. Maybe you're able to grab yourself one of the Santa's sack. You're able to get yourself one of the limited edition stickers. Maybe you were one of the lucky ones that on Thursday's Q&A to pick up a limited edition G-Technic car. These are ours from our desks.
We're keeping those.
But yeah, so we and then you got a hold of the stocking stuffers as well. So thank you everybody that took advantage of the sale and got those great gifts and goodies. We're excited. Thank you guys for tuning in and being a part of it, and we appreciate it.
Yeah.
So, what a weekend, Dane.
Yeah.
It was cold.
It was okay. So for perspective here, guys. Where you come from may get a lot of precipitation. Maybe you get a lot of snow, right? Maybe it's you live on the East Coast, you get a lot of snow, but it rarely goes below like 20 degrees. You know, maybe it kind of hovers around there, and then it's back up because the snow can only happen at a certain temperature. Once you go below that, the snow's not happening.
Yeah, but here in the north, Dane,
here in the very north,
I will say this: we do have a lot of. We normally have a mild winter lately as the years have passed.
We have hot summers, we have cold winters, but the precipitation is minimal.
But they've been very mild.
Yeah.
And I remember the days growing up here in Boise, because I've been a resident of Boise, Idaho for over 100 years.
And I've been visiting since the early 90s.
Yes.
So.
That we would have 2 weeks, the way it worked out back in the old days, you'd have 2 weeks of sub-zero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You'd have 2 weeks of over 100 triple digits.
Yeah.
And you'd have 4 seasons along the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there would be a nice curve to the way the seasons worked. You were able to acclimate as you went along. There were no insane shifts all of a sudden.
Right. Now we have insane shifts where we have warm winters that never dip below the 30s, which we had last year.
Yeah.
Fairly mild winter.
Sure.
Almost no snow.
I keep hoping for that snowpocalypse.
We
again,
had
and it hasn't happened for a while.
We had a very hot summer that stayed hot for a very long time.
That was
So it's expected that our winter starts early. We already have snow on the ground, which is crazy because we haven't had snow.
We got like 2
this
weeks
early.
of fall, and then it just skipped right into winter.
We haven't had this much of cold snap this quickly. So our area isn't acclimated yet to having that cold temperature. We usually get this cold weather in January.
Yeah, January, February.
And so to be this early in December with this much snow, this much cold, with snow on the way, the forecast, and how freezing cold it is right now. I mean, we had 10 degrees yesterday. For those of you in some of those higher areas or more northerly states,
this is hardly surprising.
No big deal.
To you.
Totally understood. But, if you're from the deep south, this might be something fresh and new for you. So point is, cold weekend is what was upon us this weekend. A lot of things happened.
Oh, yeah.
This weekend I had no cars, Dane.
No cars.
No cars
That
to
meant you
detail.
had free time.
Had free time.
Lots of
so
stuff
I thought,
to do, whatever
you know what?
wanted.
I'm going to clean my garage.
Ooh, okay.
Hadn't done that in a while. Like a clean, not an organizing, not a Gabe Garcia special, but just a clean.
Okay.
I got a rake.
Oh.
I got my air gun. I blew out underneath all my racks and shelving. Mm-hmm. Blew everything into a pile in the center.
Where stuff collects.
Yeah, just kind of pulled some stuff out, blew out everything, and just kind of pushed it all back. Right? Sure. Didn't go through anything. Didn't double organize or anything.
No, you're just
like that.
you're taking care of the surface level stuff, which is what people see.
Moved a trash can into the garage, opened it up, started throwing all the garbage and everything that was on the floor. Then I walked around and started from one corner and worked my way all the way around, just throwing away soda bottles, empty spray paint cans, bags of garbage, soda machine, soda stuff.
This is
mostly cans of soda.
This is like a light interior detail on a car, but it's your garage.
Yeah, it's like pulling up to the gas station. You're getting all the garbage out of it.
Exactly.
You want to clean out the door pockets, that kind of thing.
Maybe you
That's
pull
what
it to the vacuums or something. Maybe.
I didn't go that far.
Okay.
But I did blow it all out.
Okay.
So maybe a light
close enough.
vacuum.
Close enough.
So got everything kind of cleaned up, right? Went through, picked up all the bottles that I had in random sections and hung them back up.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Just clean those areas. Got it so that it was to the point that my wife saw it and said, wow, looks good. I said, well, thank you. Appreciate that. Then spent a little bit of time being able to see my sister and her husband and the new baby. So Friday night, went over to my mom's house, had dinner with my sisters and their kids. My kids got to play with the other cousins. So good little night, chilled out, just kind of hung out.
Yeah.
And then Saturday, we spent the day just kind of relaxing in our pajamas, and that's when I went through and kind of cleaned my garage. I had my headphones in. Augie and I made a walking stick, too, because he came in while I was cleaning, and he's like, I want to do stuff. So I handed him a hatchet and a large branch.
You handed him a hatchet.
Yep,
now
and I said,
you
I
thought
showed him
about
what I
this
needed. I
before
said, I need you to
handed
take off
that boy.
I need
a
you to
hatchet.
take off these ends, these little knuckles. I need you to take them off on the tree. And he said, oh, all right, cool, I can do that.
Okay.
So he actually did it, knocked it off, and then he walked over to the sander, and I got a big belt sander on there. And he's like, I'm going to use this to sand them smooth. And I said, here's a couple sanding blocks. Use that first. Get
I don't
it all
want to go
sanded.
through the expensive belts on this big boy. Leave it alone.
Yeah. So he did. He was like, nope. And he walked up to the sander, used it himself, got a bunch of dust all over himself.
Yeah.
Sanding, just wood dust.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I don't like that. Just spitting all over me. And I said, that's what it does.
That's why you wear, face protection, all that kind of stuff.
Gave
Keep
him
it
his
out.
sanding block, and he sat on the floor, sanded this whole stick. I mean, it's as tall as he is, and it's a beautiful piece, and made it really nice. Mm-hmm. Took it in the house, showed it to Carly. Was like, look, Mom, look what I made. He was really excited. So came out pretty rad, pretty stoked that he was able to create something like that while I cleaned the garage. We watched some TV, and I had a Car Trek on.
Oh,
so we
nice.
just watched a bunch of episodes of Car Trek while I just swept and cleaned, had it playing. So that was good. Pulled the Suburban in and rewired that large light bar, my RGB light bar.
I saw that in your
Got
story
that,
post.
got that rewired because it was originally I had it wired to the battery, and it created a large hum.
Well,
so
that was one of the things I asked about last time.
So I disconnected it and I hooked it to the battery again.
Okay.
So instead of the battery, I hooked it to the positive terminal that the GM vehicles have.
Okay.
Based on their directions. So I hooked it there. Then I grounded it to a ground on the firewall.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm curious, where did you ground it?
There's a ground on the firewall, grounding strap and everything. I grounded it to that. However, there's still that hum. And I think it's because I mounted the Bluetooth box and the fuse box for it next to the other fuse, the actual factory fuse box.
Is the hum coming through the stereo speakers?
Yes.
Or okay.
And then the line goes up through the dash and then out to the switches that I have fixed. I still have to drill another hole to get it properly so I can fit it. But I worked on that.
Okay.
Got all the lights, so it was kind of fun. Put that on and then got it cycling and then turned on the Christmas lights and took a video. It was good. Sunday morning we woke up. Mm-hmm. And my mom said, "Hey, we're going to the mall. We're gonna do this with my sister and her husband, and so come on down. Let's all go." Should have said no.
You don't sound very excited.
I'm not a person that goes to the mall.
Fair.
Right. I'm also not a person that goes to the mall the Sunday before Christmas.
That is also true, except for those of us who had to work there.
This is realistically also the only mall in Boise. The Village doesn't count because it's an outdoor mall.
The Village is an outdoor mall. It's like California-style mall.
Yeah. So this is an old school 1990 internal mall.
Yeah, this is like the classic 90s, 80s, late 70s.
It's been remodeled.
Kind of mall.
It's been remodeled, but it's the mall. So I start driving, grab my kids. We drive over there. Carly goes, "I'm staying home." I said, "Oh."
She made the smart decision, so now you're on the hook.
Should have stayed.
Gotcha.
So we get in the truck. We drive out there. I immediately regret after I get off the interstate because I'm going down 84 and I hop off the exit for the mall.
Yep.
Bumper to bumper traffic.
Oh, before you even
soon as you I took the turn and I was like,
to the parking lot yet, and you're already
bumper
stuck
to
in
bumper, just full stop. And I was like,
"Hey, gee, I wonder what time of year it is, guys."
And I literally said about 3 swear words, and my kids were like, and I go,
only Dad is allowed to say those words.
I did not pre-plan this well enough. I did not pre-plan my trip thinking. I just grabbed the kids and we hustled.
Yeah.
And I thought, I could have taken Cole. I could have taken Orchard.
I
could have come at it from a different angle and not hit this. So we sat. 17 minutes, Dane.
So this is that exit that goes straight to the front entrance where if you just cross Cole, you go right to the entrance? Dillard's and stuff? Oh,
no, I wish I would have taken that way too.
Because I imagine that one gets bumper to bumper. No, this is so short.
This is I-84.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about taking the connector. Westbound, yes.
Headed towards Meridian. Mm-hmm. And you take a right.
Oh, and you end up on Fairview?
And you end up on Franklin.
Or Franklin, not Fairview.
You come around there by the auto mall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one.
I did that
one.
That was the turnoff under the Y.
Yeah.
So, and that was bumper to bumper. As soon as you got, and I was like, "Argh!"
That's way worse because that's a big bend, and
that is a big,
if that's
long
full
bend.
Of cars, you know you're going to be there a while.
Yeah. So 17 minutes, tip to tail, till we got to the front door of the mall from that spot. We're talking literally 3/4 of a mile, folks, in that spot.
You can see it just right there.
You can see it right there. Yeah. So we sat, my kids and I, and listened, and I told them stories about how once. So this is a great story. So
you regaled them with tales
of my childhood. So I was probably 16 years old, and me and my sisters and my dad went to the mall, like that Sunday before Christmas.
Same mall, right?
Same mall to do some Christmas shopping at night after work. My dad got off work, he grabbed us, we went to go Christmas shopping. He's like, "Let's go do this stuff. Let's get everything done." And it was right after my parents got divorced. I think my mom went to Texas or something for that Christmas holiday. And so we are at the mall, do our Christmas shopping. We walk back out, we get in the car. We were in my dad's Mark II Supra.
Yeah, Mark II.
We hop in it. We back out. The entire parking lot is pure ice.
Oh, no.
It was like an ice storm had hit.
What tires were on the Supra?
My dad doesn't care. He's
one of those guys who doesn't believe in snow tires.
He doesn't believe in snow tires or studs.
Something about people from like the 70s and 80s, they really hate snow tires, but I think it's just because tire tech really sucked back then.
Yeah. And he's got some...
They're much better now.
He's got some 16s, the Supra, the Mark II wheels on it with some 16-inch 50 series tires.
I love those cars, though. They're cool cars.
pops it in reverse, backs out, and the car just kind of
Glides
a little bit. My dad's like, puts it in first gear, just spins. Second gear, just spins. Third gear, just spins. He's like,
There's no traction control.
He finally gets it. He finally gets it out, but the whole parking lot is ice.
Yeah.
Everybody's leaving the mall because it's closing time.
Well, because nobody back then was really treating the parking lot, were they?
This would have been 96, so no, 96, 97. So whole place is ice. Also, all the streets surrounding the mall. Ice.
Well, that's the thing. The mall has a ring road around it. So that's like a little slot car track.
Yeah. So we literally are stuck trying to get out of the mall, and it's already difficult, and everybody else is having a problem, and people are crashing and hitting each other. And my dad is like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into?
Our mall parking lot has elevation changes.
And
it's not
a number
just
of
flat.
elevation
It's
changes.
actually got like hills and valleys and stuff. So it's kind of
So
different.
you could come down a hill and slide into a pile of cars.
Absolutely.
Quite easily.
And take out like a whole row like bowling pins.
Yep. So that was happening.
Right into a PetSmart.
So it's like 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock. And my dad is swearing up a storm. And I'm telling my children this story.
So.
About how slippery the road is and all this stuff as we're sitting in the Suburban listening to some 80s music.
Yeah.
My dad parks the Supra.
Okay.
He finds a spot like where he parked by the theater at the time, which is now a PetSmart.
Right.
The old Cineplex Odeon Theater.
I remember.
He parks in there where between the Pier 1 imports and like parks the car in there up against a berm.
Yeah,
because he's like
separated.
He's trying
by,
to protect the vehicle.
There's some concrete islands that separate the ring road from that kind of parking lot that's on the outer side of the ring.
So he's gotten through the ring.
There.
He's not out of the parking lot,
right?
But he just parks.
Yeah, there's no exit out of that doesn't take you just right back into.
And
the
so
ring.
his theory is, if someone slides into or crashes, I'm in a more safer spot.
They
to
have
leave
to
the
try
vehicle,
to hit me over
to
here.
leave the vehicle, right? So then he goes, "Let's walk." And I'm thinking, oh, we'll go to the theater. This will
What
be
kind
great.
of shoes were you guys wearing? The
Probably
kind
just
that
tennis
don't
shoes.
grip?
Tennis shoes.
Yeah.
So we start walking. But my dad goes, no, we're not walking towards the theater. We're going to walk out to the road because we can't call anybody to come pick us up in here. They can't get in. We need to get onto a main road that's been plowed or de-iced.
Yeah.
So me and my dad and my sisters are walking. My sisters are 14 and 10.
Oy.
So we're walking. We get to Milwaukee, the main road.
Yeah.
So we get out of the ring. Mm-hmm. We start walking down Milwaukee. And my dad goes, we need to find a spot that we can post up and make a phone call on a payphone because we didn't have cell phones.
Right.
And he wants to post up at a place that's warm and has food or has something because we're probably going to be there for a while.
Well, there are restaurants along that outer rim of the mall.
Dane, this is 1996.
I was going to say, I assume that Olive Garden has been there a long time, but
There is an Olive Garden. There is a Red Robin, and that's it.
Yes, those are the ones I'm thinking of.
My dad says, not stopping there. Costs money.
Well, most
Brad
places
Gates.
that are warm that have food that
We
probably
walked,
cost
Dane,
money.
all the way down Milwaukee. Now, for those of you that are in Boise, this isn't going to make sense. But we walked all the way down Milwaukee to Fairview,
No.
the next major intersection.
Okay. So
we walked all the way to the McDonald's across from Pojo's.
Holy. Okay,
My dad
guys, you
used
don't
the
understand how
payphone.
far they
My
walked.
dad
That
used
is-
the payphone there to call my stepmom, who was his girlfriend at the time, to come pick us up. Because in his mind, I've gotten us far enough away from the chaos. We are now on a major highway, off of a major highway. She can just swoop in, pick us up. I can get some snacks and coffee and food for the kids, and we can just sit and enjoy a delicious McDonald's late dinner.
I get the logic, but you guys walked.
We walked
so
We
far.
walked probably a mile and a half.
No, that's
2
longer
miles.
than that,
It's probably
yeah.
2 miles.
Yeah.
Because so the mall was bordered at the time back then. Franklin and Ustick was the mall border. Then the next half mile was Ustick and Fairview. So it's really about a mile between the two. But by the way we walked, it was probably 2 miles.
I was going to say, I get people who aren't local have no idea what
It's
any
9
of this
o'clock
means.
at night, but my
Just-
dad walked us 2 miles away from the mall to get us to a McDonald's so he could call my stepmom.
I would not walk any of that in this day and age with how busy the roads are and stuff.
There was 6 inches of snow and ice and slush on the ground. My sister stepped in a hole all the way up to her knee.
No.
Soaked her foot. She's 10 years old.
So now she's walking like
her
that.
Her foot's freezing and soaking wet. My dad's walking us and he's like swearing up a storm.
She's going to get something from that.
Yeah. So anyway, then we get to the mall, right? So she picks us up. It's all great. So me and my kids get to the mall.
Yeah.
We pull in, we park. We head to the store where my mom and my sisters are. We get up and we get there. And they're like, hey, we're already done shopping. And I said, yeah, we've been stuck in traffic for 17 minutes. Sorry. And they're like, well, let's go down and see Santa Claus. And I'm like, all right, whatever. We go see Santa Claus. It's a line. Why, Dane? Because it's the Sunday before Christmas.
Because obviously.
Because my sister and her husband from Boston wanted to take their daughter to go see Santa.
The people from Boston want to take the data over to...
Yeah, we're going to go see Santa, see what he's doing.
Yeah, see what he's doing.
So we get over there, and it's a huge line. And they're like, walk-ups start right here.
Oh, boy.
Appointments start over here. So I go, you guys got an appointment? Because I don't know.
Oh, no, we're those
and they're like, no, we're walking up.
Walked in.
Yeah, we're just gonna walk up, get a picture. I'm like, there are more people in the line with appointments than there are in the walk up, and they're prioritizing the appointments. Yeah. So I'm like, this is gonna suck. So me and the kids we take turns. My daughter sits there and watches the baby and Hadley's playing with it was good. I take Augie. We go look for a present. We come back. We go get something else. We kept popping out of line. My mom stayed there.
You're gambling with your time.
Hour and a half goes by, Dane.
Not surprised.
We've moved maybe 2 feet.
See, in other larger cities, you have multiple malls with multiple mall Santas.
Yeah.
Here, you have, it's not a huge population.
They need to build a
second. We're at the point where we could stand to have another one of these
very easily,
just to divvy it up a little.
Yeah. And the mall was packed, mind you. It is packed.
So one time a year, it doesn't look like kind of sad.
No, it was packed. So whole point, I'm going, oh my gosh, I'm so ready to kill everybody.
Oh, good. Okay, wow.
Because I just don't like being there with everything. So hour and a half goes by. We've only moved 2 feet. Guy comes up and goes, hey, we're going to finish out the rest of these appointments. Santa's going to go to lunch, and we'll start pulling people this line. So 45 minutes.
Does that mean Santa's lunch is like 10 minutes? Like, how are they going to manage that?
They're going to spend 15 minutes, and Santa's going to get a 30-minute lunch. They're going to spend the next 15 minutes finishing off the rest of the line of appointments. And then they're going to wait 30 minutes, and then they're going to start back up at the line.
Holy cow.
And I said, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, no.
My kids don't care. No. So I just said, hey, Mom, sorry. You guys have fun. You can stay if you want. I'm going. It was great. Nice day. Standing in line.
So you're not somebody who falls prey to the sunk cost fallacy.
No. So
you're not going to sit there and go, well, I've spent this much time.
No. I cut my losses.
No,
my life is much easier.
That's a mature choice.
I already was trying to do 10 other things while I was there. Like, letting my kids go do stuff. I'm going to go check this store. I'll be right back. I'm going to go check this store. I'll be right back. And they weren't moving. So point was, I was fine. We headed home, got home on, this was Sunday afternoon, and made it home. Here's the thing that I didn't tell anybody yet.
Okay.
Sunday morning, our house woke up, and we woke up in our house. It was 60 degrees in our house.
I think I caught the tail end of this.
Freezing Sunday morning. No idea why my house was that cold, but it was 10 degrees outside. So I assumed, my furnace is just kind of working hard. Reset the furnace, fired back up, and I thought, it's doing good.
Do you do like a yearly tune checkup kind of thing with it? Okay, yeah.
And I changed the filters. But I thought, I probably should have changed the filter. I didn't change it yet. That's probably what it is. Probably clogged filter.
Every 3 or 4 months.
Maybe it thermal cycled. It shut itself off overnight. That's probably what happened. Sure. It's probably the filter. I'll put it on my list. I'll go to Home Depot.
That's still pretty cold in the house,
but 60 was cold.
Yeah.
To wake up to.
Pipes start to.
So I checked. We got it warmer. Sun came out. It warmed up the house. It started warming up the house. It was fine. It's like 65 in the house in the middle of the day. So we leave, we go to the mall, we go do all that stuff. I call Carly on our way home. I said, hey, is it warmed up at all? And she's like, ish, 65. And I'm like, damn. So I said, well, let me stop Home Depot on the way. I'll grab a filter. I grab a filter, get home with the kids, tell her about our day, swap the filter over, hit the furnace, see if it does anything. Nothing happens. Time period of like 45 minutes, right? I pop the filter in. I come home. Carly goes, shoot, while you were up there, I should have had you go to the store and grab groceries. We need this last minute gift.
Yeah.
And I need you to pick up our prescriptions. What's up, David?
Hey.
So I roll to Fred Meyer's again.
Yeah.
Pick up all the groceries and everything that we needed and the prescriptions. Takes me 45 minutes because the store is packed too.
I mean, everywhere gets
Right?
busy this time of year, so.
So I'm like, dang it. So get home. Carly's like, it's 7:30. Kids are getting ready for baths. She's like, it's 62 degrees in here. And I said, I pull out a couple space heaters, fire those suckers up. I turn the oven on, open it up.
It's a built-in space
I'm
heater.
going to warm this house up before bedtime, and I'm going to figure this out. And that is when I put it to the group, and our very own AB, Anthony Blaine here, was an HVAC tech for a number of years. Truly one of the finest. And I said out to the group, and I said, dudes, my house has been 60 degrees all day. And he goes, change the filter. I said, change the filter.
Yeah.
He goes, check this, check that. Go through the whole thing. I play a video. If I take a video of what it's doing, it's starting up and it's blowing fire, and then it's shutting off.
Okay.
Then it's just running the fan. So it was bursting flame for like 5 seconds at a time.
And then it goes,
And then
Takes
it
it
turns it off. So that's why the house was staying at like 61, 62.
because you're getting 5 seconds of
We
flame.
have 5 seconds
and then
of flame.
just air.
And then air for like 10 minutes and 5 seconds of flame and then air for 10 minutes. So it wasn't enough to really warm it up. And
So it's a sensor issue.
so thankfully, he goes, it's a sensor right here.
Yeah.
Here's what you do. So then I FaceTime him, pull the unit out. He goes, all right, here's what you're going to do. Clean off the flame sensor, sand it down. So we're sitting there talking on FaceTime.
So is it just like covered with like carbon soot or something like that? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just needed to clean that off. So I just sanded it, slid the little unit back in, checked to make sure the porcelain didn't have any cracks and stuff on it because it's a metal rod with porcelain.
Okay.
And then you hook it back in. It's got a wire tab.
Okay, so it does
Hook the
take
wire
a wire,
in.
obviously.
Yeah, hook the wire back on. One screw, screwed it back in, fired that sucker back up, and it ran. And I was like, holy crap, dude.
I guarantee if you had waited for like an HVAC tech to come in,
He would have done the exact same thing.
He would have done the exact same thing, and he would have charged you like $180 for
service call.
for that call.
AB, I owe you a bunch of cookies.
Yeah, for real.
So, yeah, it was
what
totally...
what a hero.
Dude, I cranked that heat up to 74. Uh-huh. Carly goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to run it, see if we can make it break.
We're making up for lost time right now.
Making it for lost time. I got to warm this house up. And then once we got it up to 74, she's like she was dying.
Good. Now we're going to rest on this.
So now we're going to crank it back down. It's going to go to 68, and we're going to go to sleep and be warm and toasty. Because you got to remember, my floors were starting to freeze. My tile in my kitchen and my bathrooms were ice cold.
Yeah.
My kids were getting out of the tub, and they're like, like
everything is cold.
Shocking how cold it was. So I needed to warm up those surfaces just so we could keep them.
There's a fine
temp.
line when a house gets to around 64, 63. 65, 66, it sounds cold to some people. I like a house that's
our
colder.
Our house stays at like 67, 68 every day.
Exactly.
It's just how it is.
You go into a house where it's just a couple degrees cooler than that, and everything is just like the
60
most
was
shocking.
cold.
Yeah.
60 was cold in that house. I was like
Miserable.
Well, that morning we kept going, is there a door open? Like, why is it so cold?
There's a draft, obviously, somewhere.
One of the kids open a window?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, my furnace just wasn't working. So
Fire
that
just
was
can't
my
cut it.
adventureful weekend of just I hoped to have just been like chilling out on the couch, resting. Didn't get a lot to do, but I did get my garage cleaned. I need to get it organized. I got to pick up a car tonight to detail this weekend. My buddy Wayne's got a little Ford Ranger that he found.
He just loves those little projects.
He sold his Lexus.
The GX.
Yep, he sold that.
Don't worry, he'll find another.
Well, he bought himself a 2-year-old Denali pickup crew cab in white, and then
he likes the white cars.
He's been collecting old Yamaha dirt bikes, like
Old Yamaha.
the old yellow and white and black Yamaha dirt bikes from like the late
YZs?
70s.
Yeah,
he's been buying.
Oh, cool.
He's got like 5 or 6 of them now, and he's been collecting them and hanging them in his garage.
Huh.
pretty funny. But
okay.
Anyway.
My uncle used to have the trikes with the waffle tires,
Yeah.
the Yamahas.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, those are pretty badass. I like
Yeah,
those.
no, he's got a bunch of dirt. I'll show you some pictures later.
Dying
But
a rollover accident, but
but yeah, so he called me and said, hey, I want to get the Ranger, the little Ranger. He bought it from someone at the store. He has these people bring him cars that they're going to just sell, and he buys them, fixes
it's hard
them
to go
up.
wrong with a little
Swaps
Ranger,
them.
though. The
Yeah.
parts are plentiful.
It's a little gold
and
one.
Everybody wants to have a little work truck.
Yeah, he had it already detailed earlier this summer. He's kept it for quite a while, and then he's going to sell it again probably this winter. But he always buys a little 4-wheel drive for winter. Mm-hmm. It's just the way he does it. He buys these little $1,500, $2,000 for
Then when he's done, he tosses it.
He's
It
literally-
costs the same as a set of tires.
He literally sells it after winter, but he buys it for winter and he calls them beaters with a heater.
Wow.
And he buys them solely for the fact that he can, he goes, if I get in a wreck, I'm not in one of my cars because I'm driving this, and this cost me $1,000 or $1,500.
Huh.
And it gives him the chance to fix it up just enough, make sure it's mechanically right, and then he just details it, throws some tires on it, and sells it.
Interesting.
So it's kind of a weird. It's a weird thing.
I think that works.
But he
in
does
Idaho
that.
more than some
But
other places.
But it's something
maybe.
he does a lot,
Yeah.
and he taught his daughter how to do it. And his daughter does the exact same thing.
Because he has to register and insure
Like-
it still and everything.
Yeah, he
Like,
registers
yeah.
and insures it. But I mean, you got to look at it. He's got this new pickup,
Yeah.
and he's got a Corvette. Mm-hmm. You know,
Those
and
are the
got
ones he's holding on.
He's got a couple other toys. He's
Yeah.
got a little pickup and a big, square body.
Sure.
But they're all too nice. It's like the problem with Anthony.
Yeah.
Too many nice cars. He needs a beater.
Even when he gets the $1,500 beater, though, he turns it into a car that's too nice because he can't stand looking at the beater in its beater shape.
Yeah, but Wayne doesn't do that. Wayne will have a project car that he'll dump his money in, but he will buy a beater still and just make it a nice beater. It's like buying the Sport Track.
I like that.
Put the tires, put the stereo in, get it detailed, drive it for the winter, and then sell it.
Like
That's
the little
it. You didn't have
B3000
to,
I had.
Yeah,
if
you don't
it
make
hadn't
it too nice.
had that awful 3-liter motor and it had the 4-liter or it had the 4-cylinder, would have been great. Mm-hmm. But instead, it got that stupid 3-liter that always has a head gasket issue.
But never customize, never make it so fancy.
No.
Just
Little trucks like
totally
that
leave
are
it bone stock.
perfect the way they are.
Leave it bone stock. Just fix it up, make it nice, sell it. That's what he did. So, anyway,
I
Dane,
get it. I like it.
tell me about your weekend.
So, had a few things going. Obviously, I know I've been like a broken record. Every single weekend I talk about, I went for a nice little nature walk.
No,
I
you
just
have
went
been.
up the
You've
thing."
been keeping it
and
up.
I've been doing that, and
I'm
I've
proud of
really
you.
tried to stick to it. And yeah, as it's gotten colder, it's becoming a little more difficult to do, but I still do it. It's just kind of miserable at times. But, I got to get myself a little warm hat, maybe a little scarf or something like that. But when it gets to 10 degrees, you kind of want to bundle up a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I did that this weekend, and incidentally, I was going to my normal, walking path, and I got a call from my folks saying, "Hey, would you be interested in going for a walk with us today? We were going to go up to that spot you took us a few weeks ago." I'm like, "Oh, I'm already there," and they're like, "Oh, you want to walk together?" And it's like, "Okay, let's walk together." So we had a nice walk there. I just kind of went the opposite way and waited for them to catch up, and then I went back towards the parking lot, caught them. We went on our way. It was nice. It was really nice. So I love that area over on the Greenbelt, kind of next to Warm Springs Mesa area.
Yeah.
Just, it's nice along the river there. But apart from that evening, my mom has this store in Bowen Crossing she loves where she gets the kind of
Cravens?
not so PC candy.
Yeah,
where
she goes to
it's just funny.
Cravens.
Yeah, it's Cravens. Okay, because didn't they have a place downtown?
No.
Because she used to get the kinds of bubblegum packs and things.
So you can buy
from
those
a candy shop downtown.
They're not a candy shop. They had a bunch of different stores. You can
okay.
buy them at the Record Exchange. You can buy
Okay.
them at. You could buy them at
because these are great, but they're definitely they're intentionally edgy.
Yeah, they had a bunch of
candy.
stores like that you could just buy that stuff at.
Yeah,
like
it's like a little pack of Shut the F Up mints, stuff like that. Just like fun, kind of things. And it's just, here, have a pack. So, yeah, there's a lot of that kind of stuff that I think are fun little stocking stuffers and things. So that's where she usually picks those up because she thinks it's funny.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it's good stuff. But anyway, she was doing that and combining that with with the walk, so she was already in the area. So it was a nice way to
there you go.
do that. But yeah, we got my dad, my brother, hopped in with them. They took
nice.
Cooper the dog. We had everybody.
Hey,
so
that's good.
And me and Callie.
Come over to our area and enjoy the neighborhood.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll take advantage of your local amenities, and then we'll leave.
That's
and,
all right.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah. We'll use them and abuse them. So anyway, you got that. But after that. That afternoon, that evening, I told them, and it was so funny because my dad had listened to our podcast last week when we were all basically just trashing Avatar.
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, yeah, so Brandon wants to go see that because my buddy Brandon, he's like, he doesn't ask for much, but he was just like, hey, do you want to go see like the Avatar movie tonight or something? And I was like, okay, because I'm with you guys. I'm one of those people where I'm like, it's a very derivative, basic plot with some incredible visuals wrapped around it, and that's the package of the original Avatar, and that's what it was sold on. And then Avatar 2, I assumed would be very much the same, maybe slightly different story, but still the same basic concept. And the reason I'll be charitable here. The reason I think James Cameron does this, because he is capable of making smart movies. He is capable of making impressive, feats of storytelling that also have a cool technical side.
Okay.
But he loves his tech and wanting to advance the nature of, cinematography, all that stuff through the use of like, okay, these are new visual effects instruments we didn't have before. These are new techniques we didn't have before. And I'm going to use it by telling a very simple story that people around the world can understand, even if they don't speak the native language of the movie.
He's been working on this movie for like 4 years, too.
Like 4 or 5 10 years.
Something like that.
Something crazy. But like developing the tech that hadn't been used for anything except for this movie.
Right.
And I think a big reason why
I can appreciate that. I just can't appreciate the
exactly.
project.
But see, that's my problem. It's like I'm one of those people who, if I watch a movie, if I know it's going to be schlocky going in, and I want to watch a schlocky movie, I'll enjoy it because it's a schlocky movie.
Yes, exactly.
Like Bullet Train or something.
No, I'm the same way.
Was fun because going in, I'm like, oh, I know it's going to be like a goofy kind of Guy Ritchie style kind of thing.
It's like,
okay, cool.
The reason my wife always asks, why do you watch Fast and Furious? It's such a bad series.
Objectively,
and I go,
it may be bad on the Godfather scale, but it's a different kind of good.
Right. For me, as long as you walk into it, and I've told this to a number of people.
Yes.
The moment you walk into it, knowing that they are superheroes.
Yeah.
When they are in a car.
Their suits are cars.
Everything makes sense at that point.
Yeah. Well,
everything.
After like the fourth movie or so, it all just starts being the cars are like suits of armor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's why they all drive different
they're
cars.
They're all Iron Man, and the cars are all the Iron Man.
Exactly.
Suit. Yeah.
Once you get there, 100% every other movie, all the movies are like, okay, I can have fun with this because it's so stupid and silly.
Yeah.
But once you
it's not a drag
that
racing
out,
movie anymore.
Then you're like, oh, I got it now. Okay, now I can enjoy it. What are they going to do next? Holy cow.
But I can. That's one thing I have difficulty with people sometimes is like, they're like, wait, you said that's a good movie, but you also think The Godfather and Citizen Kane are good movies.
Yeah.
Like, come on, how can you like both?
I'm like you, Dane.
I do like both.
I'm a movie snob as well.
Yes. But I'm capable
shall not be
of adjusting
in a theater of such a low class.
I can adjust my criteria based on the medium with which the movie was created for. Like, if they're trying to do something different with it, and they're not trying to make like the smartest or the most clever, whatever, they just want to make something that is solidly fun from beginning to end. That's why I love Crank. That's why I love, those kinds of movies. To somebody else, they may be like, what is this trash? But I'm like, I love this. But with Avatar, what I was getting at was, I think the whole reason they do the kind of like, I'll call it a lame derivative plot, is because it's something that regardless of where you are, whether you speak the language or not, you can understand it because it's simplified storytelling enough that you get what's going on with them just kind of showing you, and you get the story beats and get the emotional stuff at a super core level, super basic level. And then the visuals are so pretty, you're distracted by that. So that's, I've seen
we've
Bullet
both
Train.
seen it. I love it. I thought it was great.
I enjoyed it a lot, actually, personally.
100% my style of movie.
It's not my favorite type of movie or my favorite movie of that type, but I really, really like it.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoyed it.
I love the witty banter.
Yes.
I love the lines. I love the confusion, and I like the fights. I thought it was all perfect.
Yeah. I'm somebody who enjoys
movie.
like Scott Pilgrim versus the World and stuff like that. But so in the case of Avatar, here was the thing going in, was like, okay, it's going to be simple storytelling, but visually interesting. Because in order to get this tech like to the level it is,
Has
and
to
to
be
justify
made.
what he
Things
does,
have to
he
be made.
has to make so much money to recoup the cost. I heard this thing costs like $400 million.
Yeah.
Insane. What this movie cost.
Yeah, and 10 years.
Yeah, and you're spending that much time on it. It's like, okay, you gotta deliver something,
So-
but you take a safer approach with the storytelling so that you
fun
can get
fact.
what you want.
I read last night,
Yeah.
Edie Falco.
Well, what about Edie Falco?
When she shot her scenes for the movie, it was 5 years ago.
Oh my God.
She thought they'd already made the movie and it had already come out,
And she just hadn't heard of it.
and she hadn't heard about it. And then people were reaching out to do the press release for this, and she was like, "What are you talking about? I
forgot. Oh no.
did those scenes like 5 years ago.
Oh,
I didn't
no.
know. Wait, it's out now finally."
Yeah.
Like,
oh boy.
so pretty funny that like she forgot she was in the movie.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
how long this has been going. So
crazy.
yeah,
to
she
think
goes, "I'll
about,
probably
but-
never be able to be invited again to it." She's like, "I can't believe that."
So I will say, like, as somebody who did go and watch it in the theater, I saw it in 3D because you know if
Hey,
you're gonna do it, you do it right?
right.
And I'm somebody who usually doesn't care for 3D movies because it's usually just kind of a lame gimmick. It barely gets
Yeah.
used. The worst ones are the ones
I
where
always
like.
feel like I got popcorn grease on my glasses too.
Way back when
Way too
I saw,
blurry.
remember that Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland movie? Not good. I remember watching that one in 3D because my aunt wanted to go see that. And the thing with that one was it was converted to 3D after they'd shot a lot of the stuff, which if you're not familiar,
Doesn't work.
it darkens the image a lot when they have to do that layering process and stuff. So if you shoot something for 3D when you go in to shoot it, it's different than if you go and try and convert a movie that's already been shot into 3D because, hey, 3D is popular now, we got to do this. It darkens the image. So you're in a dark theater and you're watching this dark image, and it's kind of like watching all the dark scenes in Game of Thrones where you can barely tell what's going on. It's kind of like that when it's a bad 3D process. This one, though, was not that. This one was shot, obviously, because that's the thing it has going for it. That's its calling card as being a beautiful movie, something interesting to look at, regardless of what you feel like about the story. But it was well done. Like the 3D was actually gorgeous, and the effects and the lighting and all that stuff, I give that an 11 out of 10 on this. But it should hardly be surprising because of the amount of money and time spent on it. Like if it wasn't, that would be a problem.
Right.
But what I do want to say is, as somebody who frankly is kind of a hater of the original, I'm not going to say I love it or even like really like it, but I will say it's better than the first one in my opinion. It was actually something that I did not get bored throughout the entire runtime. It's a long movie. I never got bored, and that counts for something, I think.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was all the things, like I was like rehearsing the script in my mind before it happened. I'd be like, okay, there's gonna be a jump scare here because it got way too quiet, and you're like, pops up, and all of a sudden everybody screams. I'm like, yeah. It's so funny to be able to like, it's so predictable, but at the same time, there was something enjoyable about it compared to the first one. I actually like had moments where I liked this, but what was funny watching it was I'm looking over at Brandon and he's kind of enjoying it to a degree, but I was sitting there watching and like they're trying to do these heartfelt moments. These really like, oh my God, tearjerker kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the screen. I'm like, am I a monster?
Thanks, Neil.
I'm
Yeah,
looking
I'm bored of this. Yeah.
No, I looked
Laura.
at it. It's like, I feel nothing.
Yeah.
I feel nothing. And yeah, Levi looks bored because this is where I really nerd out over this stuff. But yeah, the point is, I'm trying to describe the sensation of going into something.
I 100% agree with you.
Going
Like,
into something that you don't want to have that I don't want to go in as a hater. I want to go in and just look
gonna
at
have
it
an open mind.
objectively. I'll have an open mind.
Right.
I know what I thought of the first one. I'm just going to watch this and I'll wait till the end to like make my full final call.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, like, not to sound like a jerk, but I always talked about how
And
like,
Neil, you should see our last week's podcast. We all talked about this.
did.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, we were talking about like, you know, one thing that we always laugh about, and it's like an inside joke between my wife and I. Yeah. So one thing is we are complete nerds when it comes to movies.
Sure. Yeah.
We know who directed what, who the cinematographer was that, blah, blah,
You're the
blah. who
IMDb
story-
trivia page
We're that.
masters.
Yeah, we're those people.
Yeah.
And we were those people when we started dating. And that's
So you
just
were
been
that
our...
separate of each other.
Automatically, as soon as we started dating, we were like, you like that? You like that? And then we used to have a membership to the Flicks. So we
yes.
would see
I love
everything.
flicks.
We would see everything that came to the independent movie house.
Yeah.
We would watch movies. We would check Rotten Tomatoes to see like, ooh, that's if it's below 70%, we're not going to see it.
Well, and then you always check the audience score.
And then we check the audience score and go, well, the
when
audience
there's a big
said,
discrepancy,
Yeah.
you kind of go,
Right, exactly. So then we check and we go, that's kind of crazy. So we'd, Mike, what's up? So so we would do that, right?
yeah,
Then we had children,
yes.
and that put a large damper on our watching and movie time.
Well,
so when we
there's stuff
would,
you can't watch when the kids are in the room.
well, not even that. Like we couldn't go to a movie,
Okay.
right? So when we would have those random spots to go to a movie,
Yeah.
it meant, okay, we have to spend money because you have to get a babysitter, cost of the movie. We
Yeah.
may not even be able to make it through the movie. So we needed to pick something that's going to be worth our time.
You're being
worth
strategic about it. You
worth
have to
our while.
Neil, I will get to yours in a moment, but I want to hear Levi's
But that was
say
it.
here.
So automatically our level of what we were going to watch went up.
Right.
So now it's like, hey, we're not even going to make it to a movie to spend the money to go to a movie if it's not an
Right.
80 plus or a 90 plus on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's at least got to be a B+ experience, or else we're
we
not.
have to. It's just not even worth it.
And
And
it's expensive.
it gets
these days, too.
right. Well, then you add a babysitter on top of that, and if you're lucky. So for me, it was like our bar had to get raised.
Mm-hmm.
Now, streaming services, Netflix, any of the stuff when we used to get the DVDs
For a
in
while, you were
Netflix,
saving money cutting
then
the
it
cable.
was like, hey, you know what? We'll just if it's free and it's streaming,
Yeah.
we'll watch it.
Sure.
If it's but we still now to this day, we'll look at stuff and go, well, what do you want to watch this? And she's like, let me check Rotten
it's
Tomatoes.
economy of time.
Yeah,
Because
she's
if
like,
it's
it
not,
got 34% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to watch that. And so
now
we'll
if it
still
got a
do
2%, I'd watch it just to see how
that.
awful
so
can
we
this
still,
be.
So we still do that to some extent. And it is funny to see, but we still get kind of wrapped up in just
Yeah.
Disney Plus stuff. Like you get into Disney and you're like, man, that series was kind of horrible, or that series didn't really work.
Series is
you know?
tough too because
Right.
that's a huge time commitment,
Exactly.
and you don't know if you're going to enjoy it until you get like a ways in.
So that is why I'm categorizing it. That is why
Mm.
my wife was so frustrated and upset at me when we went and saw Avatar, because it was a higher percentage film at the time on Rotten Tomatoes,
And it's
because
long.
of the visuals.
Yes.
And that's why she was like, you just took 3 hours from me.
No, I
You
that's
owe
what I
me.
call
know?
a world movie. And this is not derogatory.
Right.
There's nothing. It's just a movie that will play well in theaters where they don't necessarily speak the language the movie was originally created in, but they appreciate the visuals. They like the storytelling because it's done in a way that regardless of what your background is, you can understand what they're going for here.
Right.
And that's how you make the most money with a movie usually, is by doing that broad, kind of approach. And these are like some of the best version of that, of just doing the super broadly appealing in its own way to the world market. That's how you make the big bucks like it did before.
Yeah.
And so he has to kind of double down and do it again, spend so much money to create this thing, but he has to make back an insane amount just to justify it. But what I like to think is he's advancing the technology so he can use it on something that's actually interesting eventually. Because James Cameron, I mean, say what you will, the guy knows how to make a flick, because Titanic, whatever you think, like that was in its own way
Titanic's still
a
amazing.
wonderful
It's
movie
still-
to watch.
We watched
And
it recently with our children.
Come on,
it to
Terminator
them.
2. Terminator 2 is like an all-timer.
Yeah.
That's an all-timer.
Neil, I love The Northman. I haven't seen Top Gun yet.
Oh my God, Top Gun Maverick. Okay,
And
so-
saw the trailer for. I'm ready for Oppenheimer too. I'm excited to see that.
Oppenheimer, I've been waiting for that one for a long time.
I will say I haven't seen Tenet, which was
I did
one
not
of Nolan's.
enjoy
I didn't
Tenet.
watch Tenet because of the poor reviews of it.
I wanted to like Tenet. I did not end up liking Tenet. But what I want to say, The Northman, you were singing the praises of The Northman because, Eggers and all that. And I'd
loved
seen
it.
The Lighthouse, but I hadn't seen The Witch. So I kind of had the opposite experience. But Northman, I enjoyed, but it wasn't my favorite. But like the moments you talk about that you liked, I really liked those.
Yeah.
I just think other stuff where I was
I think
like,
they could have
I
picked a
know.
couple different. I don't think they needed to have Ethan Hawke.
Sure.
I think they could have placed
I'm
a different
indifferent.
person. I didn't really care for the uncle bad guy. I didn't think he was that good of a character.
Well, and my favorite movie of 2022 is a controversial one because I think there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I watched that, and like people.
I watched that on the plane.
People who had like opinions where they're like, I love good movies, and I didn't like that. Whereas other people like that was the most like emotionally wrenching movie I've ever seen. Was like Everything Everywhere All at Once. I will continue
so flying
to say
back
it,
from the UK,
my favorite
from Germany
movie
and
of
Italy,
2022.
I watched it.
Yeah. And you probably felt like,
I saw why you liked it.
Yeah.
And it's a movie that I would have seen at the flicks.
Yeah.
And I would have watched it
Yeah.
in my, but it was watching on a plane, maybe not the best place.
No, and that's
now the lady
totally
that was
fair.
sit next to me on the plane during that was watching Top Gun.
And Top Gun Maverick was hilarious
And
because I love Top Gun Maverick, and that is like
sure
the
I
most.
didn't watch it.
I joke because that is the most like. Sorry, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. The most normie, mainstream,
it is.
popular movie you can make, and I loved it. It was so well.
I want to watch
crafted.
it. It's just I haven't.
For what it was, it had no right to be as good as it was.
Right.
Because you make something that's like generic crowd pleaser or whatever. It was way better than the first Top Gun, in my opinion. After watching it, that was way more. The first Top Gun is like, oh yeah, nostalgia, all that, but no, like the new one, that one was awesome. So. Really love that. That's definitely in my like top, 3 for 2022. But Everything Everywhere All at Once is my top.
Nice.
But yeah, no, that's fun to see though. But yeah, I watched it like 3 times on the plane when we were going over. I could see on everyone else's screen like, oh, this is the part where just that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get excited when I watch it, even though I have like, I get into the weird movies too.
Yeah.
But
no, I
there's a place.
like I
for
said, I've been
normal
watching. I
movies,
watched
too.
the last 2 movies on Netflix that are Basque.
Yeah.
And they're in Basque. Like
A
the
good
language.
story is a good story. It
And
doesn't
they
matter
are
what
both-
language it's
They're
in.
both great movies.
Yeah.
Like I watched the Blacksmith and the Devil.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really good one. And then the other one was the Coven I think it was the Coven. And it's about 4 girls that are during the Spanish Inquisition.
Right. I got to watch these ones.
It
You
was
told me
good.
about
That
these,
one
so-
actually was good too because it's funny. They end up tricking a priest into basically they make up a
Good call on Aliens. Aliens is great.
but anyway, they make up a like a ritual because they're condemned for witchcraft, and then they realize that they're not going to get let out, and they're just going to be killed anyway. If they confess or they deny, they're still going to be killed. So they just say, "We'll just take everybody with us," and so they make them all. They go, we'll show you the rite, and they do the rite in front of the priests and everybody, and everybody realizes what they do, and then the priest that is trying to, the Inquisitor, realizes that he's seen it now, and now he has to, based on his own rules, it's great.
Oh no. Okay.
It's,
I
it's,
gotta
it's
check
funny
those out.
how it all works out.
Send me a link to what
It's on
platform did you
Netflix.
Netflix?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll check those.
Anyway,
out.
there's some good. They've been doing some really good stuff. And I watched Troll.
Oh right,
recently.
yeah. You talked about Troll.
That was just silly.
Okay.
Like it was good, and they did a good job with it, but it was silly. But that's a Norwegian movie.
Yeah.
And just it was like it makes sense. Like all of it makes sense. They did a good job. Like the story pans out.
Yeah.
I think the
It
character.
sets up. It sets something up and then it pays it off.
Yeah, I feel like the troll itself didn't need to be so human looking.
I mean, I saw the cover art. Is it anything like that?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
But it was good. But it was one of
interpretation.
those. It was funny. Like I watched it, and when Carly was in California with Augie, and I watched it one night, and I was like, "Yeah, this works. This works. Makes sense."
You're giving very 7 out of 10 vibes on
yeah,
this.
it was. It was about a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But anyway, let's see.
so you went to the movie with Brandon. You ended up
Yeah.
liking it. Okay. It wasn't great, but it was
I would
good
say
visuals.
obviously
good
the
effects.
visuals overpower everything else, and like James Cameron's attention to detail on some specific like stunt work and stuff like that were really impressive. But the whole time I was watching it, I just had this weird feeling I couldn't shake, where I'm like, this is like a kid's cartoon G.I. Joe kind of thing going on, and yet everybody is speaking in a way that is like, hey, don't get me wrong. I talk like this every day, so it's not, a thing like, yeah, okay, might have a filthy mouth occasionally, and it happens. But in the movie, it was just so funny to hear, like, their choices of ways of swearing and cussing were funny, because I'm like, oh, you could never allow that in a kid's show. But it felt like I was watching a kid's show, and then somebody's arm would get, like, violently ripped off with, like, a cable or something, and you're like, this is PG-13, but it's like kind of dancing around and the way things are saying, but there's kids involved. It's like the whole thing is just kind of a weird hodgepodge, and you're sitting there going, I don't know if okay, well, yeah.
So I will say
it was a lot of that.
I will say we started a new series.
Yeah,
we started watching Wednesday on Netflix.
Oh, okay, you're watching. I've heard multiple people tell me I should check it out.
So, backstory on the Gates family. Me and my kids and my wife are large Addams Family fans.
Okay. Yep.
Canon fans of the Addams Family.
Does this mean you're not gonna like it?
No. So, and I talk, Dane, old 60s episodes of the Addams Family. I've watched them all, the 2 seasons of that. My children, that has always been our go-to. Just let the kids watch. Like, it's weird. It weirdly calms them down.
Huh.
It's got a weird, I noticed that, like, they can sit and enjoy it. There are other shows where they just get weird and they get amped up and jacked on.
Everything is like a sugar
Feels
high.
like, yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, too many colors, stuff. But watching the old black and whites, they sit and watch and they get the humor in it, which is nice. So my kids watch that. They've watched the Addams Family Values. They've watched the movies from the 90s.
I was
they've
going to
watched,
say 90s movie.
Yeah, they've watched those. They've watched the new versions of the cartoon series that they've done. So my kids are well versed in the history of the Addams Family.
Okay.
They've got that.
Yeah.
So, and especially the new movies. So we thought, gosh, Wednesday would be something we could start with them. And Carly and I have been, normally we watch something beforehand and then we bring it to the kids and say, hey, and we've been reading up and learning about it and all that stuff. And we thought, you know what? Let's just try it. It's perfectly geared for their age group. It's enough that it's just scary enough, but it's still simple and easy enough to follow for the kids.
Well, I hear this new one is kind of like a high school movie meets little Harry Potter-esque
It's
kind of
really good
thing.
Yes,
okay.
It's really good. So we've watched 2 episodes so far, and the first 2 episodes, really good.
Okay.
So enough that Augie was sitting there and he goes, at the end of the episode, he goes, I want to watch the next episode. I said, no, we're watching tomorrow. And he goes, we're watching 1 episode a night. It's 45 minutes an episode. So it's a long haul for the kids to sit and watch. But both my kids have literally sat and watched the show, which they don't do.
Okay.
Unless it's one of their cartoon shows or something that they like.
Sure.
So to have a live action show where
Captures their attention.
There's enough whodunit in it. There's enough that they're able to listen and watch. And that has been a huge deal for us to be able to go, thank you. And then the only thing we have to do is shh, because they ask a question in the show that is then answered, like, if they just be quiet they're literally getting ready to tell you the answer. I got to rewind it now because you just spoke over your own answer. So, yeah. Joey Valencia, where'd you get those piranhas so quick? I know hey, when you're in Addams,
your
you
average
just
pet
carry
store,
them around. You know where to get that
just
stuff.
Just go to your goth pet store.
She had a scorpion as a pet.
Doesn't your town have a goth pet store?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. But, I like the sound of that, though.
It was good, and it's got enough they did a really good job with all the different little, so far, with a lot of the little stuff. Like
I was just saying your Snap.
No, other than Snap, but I mean like the little things that are the Addams Family.
Right.
You got to remember, it was started as just a news strip, a single cell news cartoon that the guy would write, and it wasn't until they created that 1960s TV show that they actually started creating they added those characters. Of Cousin It and all of them.
Yeah.
So,
the TV show was meant to run counter to whatever the popular culture of the day was with the nice clean cut,
But for 20 years prior to the TV show, it was just a single cell cartoon.
Yeah.
That they did.
And I was going to ask because
they didn't have names.
I saw a lot of people, dig on Luis Guzman being Gomez.
Perfect.
I thought he'd be awesome. I thought that was an inspired choice.
No,
I thought that was
he's
cool.
A perfect Gomez
because he's an awesome actor when he's into something.
And if you watch if you see the old cartoons, like the old cartoon drawings of it,
he's more like
than the other guy.
Than the 90s show,
So he's perfect because he is that short squat, and then they tried to recreate him in the animated versions of the movies that have been coming out. So if you pull that animate. It fits perfectly for Luis Guzman. I love him. I think
I like
great.
him anyway. I always enjoy when he pops up in something because I'm just like, hey, it's Luis.
I love it. He's great at it, and no, it's been fun. So
okay.
Anyway, it's one to check out. I think it's really good. So.
Duly noted. Well, I think that kind of rounds out our stuff because
you
my
go,
weekend
Dane.
pretty much wrapped up after that.
Thursday, we've got our normal Q&A,
Yes.
guys. We are going to be doing kind of a Christmas check-in.
Yes.
We haven't reached out to any companies or anything about doing giveaways this year, but it is just going to be
last year.
So we tried to do that with a surprise last year. It worked out really well, but this year we're just going to be doing like a Christmas check-in. We've got some guests that we're going to bring in, and I wanted to try and bring in some different guests that maybe you guys haven't seen as often or at
you
all.
didn't expect.
Yeah.
Something
So
kind of
kind of
fun.
the goal. We want to try and do some fun stuff this year. Just bring some folks in, say hello, and that's it.
That's fine. And to answer your question, Sanel, no, I haven't necessarily seen that. As
I don't know what
something
Yum
that popped
is.
up. So Yum Cars, I've seen it pop up. I do notice there's a lot of similarities where they seem to kind of pull from like Matt's Obsessed Garage kind of style a little bit, and like product selection and stuff.
Okay.
But that's been my only read on it so far. I've just seen a few videos online. They don't look bad by any means, but it's just one of those things. But yeah, we're not in the neighborhood with them. So at the same time, if you ever wanted them to reach out to us or something, you could definitely give them the heads up. But otherwise, that pretty much rounds us out for today. And Joey's comment here, popping it up. Sorry I missed today. I'll catch up later. My mystery sack arrived yesterday. My friend's absolute kit arrived today. Spreading that rinseless cheer all over. Couldn't agree more,
awesome,
Joey.
Man.
Great idea. So that pretty much
So we'll see you guys on Thursday,
Yes.
and then, hopefully you guys enjoy your Christmas.
I hope you do too. And of course, if you haven't liked the video today, please do so. Gets us out in front of more people. We definitely appreciate that. Keep expanding the TRC podcast community. This is great fun, but we can't do it without you guys. So if you
Send
haven't
some
done
well
that,
wishes to Anthony.
Yes.
Maybe some bananas
Get
and
well
some
soon.
bagel care packages.
Give him a little
bananas
potassium.
and plain bagels.
potassium and fiber.
Some Pedialyte.
Pedialyte, yeah. All right. And on that note, you have a wonderful, wonderful day, and we will catch up with you on the Q&A. See you then.
See you
Bye-bye.
guys.